let this tea steep. Hello everyone. Well, oh my god, my tea's gonna spill. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, and if not, well, hi, my name's Jillian. Thanks for clicking on this video today. If you are new, make sure to subscribe down below. I felt like doing another little chatty video today. I recently, not too long ago, did a get to know me type of video, and I was standing here filming, and I really liked that video. I thought it was fun, I thought it was chill. I think everyone kind of enjoyed it, so I figured let's do another one. This video is gonna be like a little Q&A slash life update. I'm going to kind of make a table of contents, I guess, for this video. I'll put it in the comment section, I'll pin it, so in case you don't want to watch the full thing and you saw the title and clicked on it for like one reason, I'll put the timestamps in so you can see when that is and just go right to it. My tea is burning hot, literal tea, not, you know, the tea that I'm gonna spill or something, actual tea. I've been enjoying tea recently, which is new for me, black tea specifically. Grab your cup of coffee. I've already had 2 today. I'm just on a caffeine kick. I don't know what it is with this quarantine. I feel like I've been consuming more caffeine than usual, which is not ideal. Again, the door is open. If you see the vlogs, you know what door I'm talking about. So if you hear sounds, we're in the city, so don't mind that. I apologize for any disruption. We're on day 3 hair, so it's looking decent, natural. We're trying not to use heat, as you all know. I'm in my favorite quarantine outfit, so my bodysuit, and I can't lift my leg. Wear these all the time, so you know what I'm talking about. We're doing well. This is day 17 of the official lockdown. So the lockdown in South Africa was supposed to be 3 weeks, so it was supposed to end next week, and then they extended it for 2 more weeks after that. So I'll be in lockdown until I go home. If you're new and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I am currently in Cape Town, South Africa with my boyfriend, and I'm staying here until, well, the plan was May, but now I don't know, hence why we're doing like a live update slash Q&A type thing. I think you're seeing this on lockdown day 28, I wanna say. So recently I've been uploading twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. That's kind of been what I've been doing. That's kind of been the plan, but I don't know, we're just rolling with it, you know? We're in quarantine, so I don't know. So like I said, I'm gonna do this video in sections. So I'm gonna start with like the life update. So I'll chat a little bit about that. People ask me questions about that, as well as it relating to the global pandemic, as well as relationship questions, health and fitness questions, and then I got a lot of travel questions. We're gonna talk about it all today. Follow me on Instagram, it's just at Jillian.Daigle. You usually see more of like the everyday stuff there. It's more like real-time updates, so if I say something now, you probably may have already seen it on Instagram by this point. All right, with that, let's just get right into it. I do like to give life updates in my vlogs. I'll just mention things here and there. You kind of get like snippets of everything. My plan is to go home the first week of May, and if I do that, I have to quarantine for 2 weeks once I get home because I have been traveling. So that's been my plan since Vietnam back in like the beginning of March, but it doesn't seem like this lockdown quarantine is going to be over anytime soon, especially back home in America, so I might be staying longer. I don't exactly know yet. That's to be determined. My life is kind of up in the air right now. I don't exactly know what's happening, which is a little uncomfortable, I guess, the whole uncertainty, but there are worse things happening in the world to other people. All right, so the first question, what are you most excited to come home to? So I really like this. Let's start this video on a positive note, right? Obviously, my family and friends, so I left home in November to come travel. So I basically left like my entire life besides my boyfriend who I'm traveling with. So I'm definitely excited to see my family and friends. I miss them very much. It'll just be really nice to be with everyone and spend some quality time with them, because all I can really do right now is text and FaceTime them, which is great, but well, actually I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to see most people because of this whole lockdown situation. So either way, I'm excited to be there. And once this lockdown is over and I'm at home, I'm really excited to back to what I know, to my favorite places, my favorite things back home, like, you know, the beach. I talked about this in my last like sit down type of video. I am from Rhode Island, so we have beautiful beaches in the summertime because I'll be getting home in the summer. So that, my favorite coffee shops, I don't know, I think just little things that are a part of your everyday routine, and then you leave that completely and it's not a part of your daily routine anymore. I think being able to mix like what I'm doing now and just what's back home, I'm really excited to kind of see how they mesh together, I guess. And then on the flip side, I got the question, what are you most concerned to come home to? Like I kind of said this not too long ago, but when I go home, there's gonna be a lot of uncertainty. So right now, and it's been the same since November, I haven't been working, I've been traveling. I have like the same routine that I kind of have had while traveling, except I can't leave the house. But going home, I'm coming back to a whole different reality, like completely different. So, you know, I won't be working like I was when I was home. When I was home before, I was working like crazy. You know, I had worked 2 jobs, I had a car. I don't know if I'm gonna have a car when I get home. So I'm concerned in a sense about not making money and just trying to figure out what my new reality is when I get home, I guess. That's a little freaky because I'm definitely a routine person. I like, you know, you guys know me, I'm a planner. I like to plan things, I like to schedule things. Everyone kind of knows that, so I don't have that though when I go home, so it's definitely gonna be a major adjustment. It's almost like I don't know exactly what home means, I guess. Perfect time to take a sip of tea. I think it's just weird because normally in this situation, if there wasn't a global pandemic, I would have some form of familiarity besides the people in my life. Like I'd have a job, I'd have my car, and be concerned about like normal everyday life stuff. But now on top of like doing long distance, I always gesture outside the I don't know, camera. What am I doing? On top of doing long distance, now I'm thinking about not working, not making money, not having a car, a global pandemic. So obviously I'm well aware that people are dealing with worse things. I'm very thankful to be safe at home. I'm not stuck at home, I'm safe at home, which is very important, but it's just gonna be weird being home, but not doing what I would be doing at home, I guess. And Tyron won't be there. And he's like become a very big part of my home, at home, over the past few years. So that's gonna be an adjustment, I think. So I don't know. It's an experience, you know? I'm gonna be learning new parts of myself that maybe I didn't know because I'm gonna be put in a different situation. So that was a really long answer for that question. How has, I'm gonna say the global pandemic because I don't wanna use the word, changed your view on traveling? So I definitely don't think anyone should be traveling at this time if they don't have to. I think there's a reason why many countries have gone into lockdown, and I only think you should travel unless absolutely necessary. Like when I go home, I have to travel. I can't stay in this country like illegally, so I have to go home at a certain time. But I think it's either gonna go 2 ways after all of this is over. It's either gonna be like people are too afraid to travel and they're not gonna go anywhere, or people are going to like over travel, like more than they would have before because they have realized what it's like not to be able to do those things. You know, like we were so used to a life with certain freedoms and in a sense luxuries that now that we don't have that, I think it's possible that people are going to be, I guess, taking more advantage of what they have rather than like shying away from it or like putting it off, they're gonna really use this time to travel and to do those things. So I wouldn't say my viewpoint has changed on it, because I think after all this is over, I definitely like want to travel. Not like on months and months end, I don't think, but I will be going places again, and I don't think that will ever change. I think I'm on the side where it's like even more so now I'm gonna want to travel, because I know what it's like to have that restriction, I guess, if that makes any sense. All right, so I guess we can talk about relationship stuff a little bit. I only have 2 questions that I'm gonna answer, because one is kind of a longer answer. How did you and your boyfriend meet? We met at work. So Tyron, as you all know who he is at this point, he is from South Africa, which is probably why someone asked this question, like, how is that possible? Like, you're from America, he's from South Africa. So we met at work. He was working in the US. I was working at a restaurant. I had been there for over a year at that point, and he came in to work for the summer because it's like a seasonal place. Most work establishments, I guess you could call it, in the hospitality industry are seasonal in New England, because no one really travels there in the wintertime. These places that people do travel to are on the beach, and you know, it's very seasonal. So summer is like the prime season. So we had a lot of like seasonal staff come in, and he was one of them. So that's how we met. We ended up working in the same restaurant. Don't really know how that happened, but it did. I'll probably go more into it in another video, just because I don't think we need to go too far into it right now. What are your top 5 long distance tips? If I had to sum it up, if you didn't know, we've done long distance once in the past. So we did it for 7 months. So after we met and decided to be together, we're back to the seasonal thing, the season was over. So he went to work in Florida, because in the wintertime, that's where the tourists go in the winter, to Florida. So that's where he worked, and I stayed in Rhode Island. So that is a 3-hour flight, sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little less, and a 24-hour plus driving distance. So we did long distance for 7 months. Now, we didn't see each other once during that, so I guess that's kind of my experience with long distance. But my tips, let's get to that, because there's 5, so there's a lot. The first one is to trust and communicate. I know it can be really hard to trust in a sense, because you know, you're not seeing that person, you don't know what they're doing. You can't like read body language because you're not with them in person. So you almost are going into everything blindly, which is why it's so important to trust, because you know, the relationship's either gonna work or it's not gonna work. So you can't spend your time just like freaking out all the time. You have to just trust that everything's gonna work out, or if it doesn't, there's a good reason why it didn't. And I say communicate because that is your only form of connection. Talking about your feelings, talking about your days, talking about everything, that's how you build a good foundation, especially when you're going through long distance. You can't, there's no physical touch, there's nothing like that, so you really have to express yourself using your words. Second tip is to set goals together. So a lot of times long distance can feel like it's never ending. It can feel like there's no way out, that it's gonna last forever, and that it's gonna go on for a long time. And when you feel like that, it just feels like it's taking longer to get to the end. So when I say set goals together, I mean set goals that you're both working towards, even when you're not in the same place. So an example I can give is like getting an apartment together, or a house, or something like that. You know, if you're not in the same place, you can still work towards that goal together. You can both be working, you can be making money, you can be saving money in order to get that place when you are together in the same place again, if that makes any sense. This kind of makes it feel like there is a future past long distance, and it doesn't feel like as long because you're so focused on, you know, what you're going to do once it's over. The third tip kind of goes with the whole trust and communication, texting and FaceTiming. These 2 things are your best friends. Like I said, there's no other way to show affection. You cannot physically touch each other. Set up times where you call each other, FaceTime each other. The face-to-face, it really helps to see the person and to hear their voice and to talk to them. And you can do FaceTime dates. I know a lot of people are dealing with that now during their quarantine, so I can understand how that's like difficult. And you know, if you can't FaceTime that day, text throughout the day, send each other pictures of random things that this person's gonna like, just good morning and good night. All the little things definitely add up, and it makes you feel like you are closer because you can't be close in person. I'm trying to keep these like answers pretty short and to the point because I don't want this video to be too long, but I also could go on about this forever. So those 3 tips are ones that I would give to couples, and then I have 2 tips that I would give to you personally that you can do yourself. Always enjoy your life. So ultimately, your partner is not responsible for your happiness. And I know during long distance, you almost feel like your happiness is taken away because such a big part of your life isn't with you in person, and I know that's very difficult. But I think enjoying each phase in your life will ultimately make you happier in the long run. Think of the positive sides, like what is good that's gonna come out of it. And you also have other people in your life that you care about. You have family, you have friends. These people are your support system. So enjoying your time with them, you know, enjoying your personal time, working on yourself to, you know, grow, accomplishing your own goals while you're apart, because in the end, once you are back together, your relationship is just gonna be that much better. I think there's always a silver lining somewhere. Sitting there and like drowning in your emotions isn't going to help you in the slightest. You have a different experience than most couples, you know, like sometimes we'll be like, remember when we would FaceTime every night? Like it's almost like a happy memory once you're back together. The 5th thing I have to say, the 5th tip is to allow yourself to feel those emotions. So like I said, don't sit there and drown in those emotions because it's gonna get you nowhere. But if you don't let it out and like feel it, then it's gonna get all bottled up, and it's gonna be like, it's ultimately going to be worse if you don't allow yourself that time to feel. Those are my 5 tips, I guess, but I just want to remind everyone that the ultimate goal when you're in a long distance relationship is that that's not going to be your forever reality, that it's just a temporary time in your life and that it's going to be over. You know, like we kind of look at it as, well, I mean, we have to do this. We can't, there's no way around it. So we're just going to deal with it while it's here, and just, we know like we have to do it because we want to be together, because it's worth it. Right, so let's talk about my health and fitness a little bit. The first question I got with this was what is your next running goal? So if you saw my reset routine, you would know I ran my first 5K, and that was great. And I'm still getting used to that. So I don't think I'm going to be doing any crazy new goals anytime soon, but if I were to say what my next goal would be, it would probably be like a 10K, which is basically like 6 miles, a little more than that. But for now, I want to stay consistent with running the 5Ks and just like slowly working towards that next goal. If you haven't seen my like week of workouts, I will link it, but I started like my fitness journey, so I'm kind of doing that during this quarantine and keeping myself busy with that, and I'll be doing it once I get home too, so there will be more like fitness videos coming in the future, maybe once a month. That would be cool, I think. And then I got a question about like my top 3 go-to lunches, and I assume this like it's healthy lunches. So what we like to do is roast vegetables, so we have them as leftovers, and I usually will do, or we will do the vegetables with some kind of like a protein. So for lunch I'll usually do like eggs, or sometimes we'll have chicken, or we've mixed like ground beef in there. So just like, it's super easy, like you don't have to do anything. I'm not the kind of person who likes elaborate cooking. I'm still learning. My second go-to is definitely like making wraps. I used to do this all the time when I worked because it was so easy. I would just do like different vegetables and put like chicken in there, or some people, if you want like just a veggie wrap, if you don't eat meat. I think it's really easy and it's pretty filling. And then if I'm home, I really enjoy oatmeal. I never liked oatmeal before, and I've recently started liking it a lot. Like oatmeal with fruit. So we like oatmeal with apples, or oatmeal with bananas and almond milk, or like any fruit you can just like throw on there. Oats are really filling. So I usually have lunch at around noon, 1-ish, and these meals end up holding me over until like 5, 6, even 7 sometimes. So I like to do like a pretty filling meal during the day at lunchtime, so I can like power through the rest of the day. Last section is all about traveling. I get a lot of questions about traveling, so I'm gonna answer them in this video. What is your favorite place you have traveled to? This one's hard because every place is so different, you almost can't compare, but I'm gonna give you 3 because I couldn't decide. Cape Town, South Africa, it's so beautiful here. I've said this before in videos, you know, it has the mountains, it has a city, it has the beach, all within like 2 seconds of each other, so I love, love, love that. And there's some kind of familiarity like with it. It reminds me of Boston in a way, and it also, like, I know people here, I have friends from here because I worked with people from South Africa, so I think there's just like a familiar feel because of the people too. My boyfriend is South African, so I love it here. But if I were to pick other places, Europe, I would pick Greece. I've only been to Athens and I went in the winter. Athens was beautiful. It's so historic, but at the same time, there is like, it's like modern, like it's like a modern city, so it just feels like very up to date, I guess. I don't know how I would describe it, but I loved Greece. The people were really cool, they were really nice. There's coffee shops every 2 buildings. And then I have to say Bali. You can't like compare Europe and Southeast Asia and America and South Africa. You can't like compare any of them, so I'm like listing different places, but Bali was really cool. Bali is just a completely different experience from what I'm used to, and it's beautiful, and there's so much stuff to do, especially in nature. There's just a very peaceful, calming vibe to it. If you could go anywhere, where would you go? So I want to go to the Greek islands really badly. That's on like number 1, I think, on my list. I really want to see the Greek islands. I'm talking internationally right now. I would love to see France because we didn't get a chance to go to France when we were in Europe, and I would love to go in the summertime. Paris, it's just like a must. I'd like to see the UK, Australia one day, that'd be cool. And then in the US, my number 1 place I want to go is California. I would like to go back to Washington, D.C. at some point, and I also want to see Arizona. Again, it's like hard to just pick one place because there's so many different places to go. Best website or blogs define travel destinations or hotels. So the companies that we use, or that I use when traveling, I have always linked down below, but Airbnb is my number 1 for any form of stay, especially long stays, because it's cheaper and it's usually like your own place. And when traveling the way we cook and need like a washing machine. Those are really essential, and that's why we use Airbnb. If we can't find an Airbnb, we'll usually go to Expedia or booking.com. Travel destinations, I usually just have my own mental list because I've seen them before in like YouTube videos or on Instagram. So if you're looking for travel destinations, YouTube is a great place. There's an entire travel niche where it compares places, and like you can just look anything up about any place, and it's probably on YouTube. I do use Pinterest to like look up a place once I know where I want to go, to see like tourist destinations or like the must-go-to travel spots or hidden gems or anything like that. And I also will look up the location on Instagram and see pictures posted from that place to see if there's anywhere like I would like to go that someone may have already been. And then the last question I'm gonna answer, and this is another travel question. What activities have you enjoyed most in Cape Town or South Africa? So I was in Cape Town back in November for a month, but we were mainly planning this trip. So We didn't do too many things touristy wise, but if I had to pick from my experience so far, I loved hiking. I hiked Lion's Head and I also hiked Table Mountain. Lion's Head was really fun. Table Mountain was a big challenge, but you guys know I like hiking. And then I have to say, exploring the different restaurants, coffee shops, and bars, I like to do that when I travel, and it's like Cape Town has some like really nice, good restaurants, bars, coffee shops to go to, so I think those have been my favorite things. But there's so many more things I want to do here, but I can't this time around, so hopefully next time I am back here, this whole quarantine, lockdown, pandemic will be non-existent, so then I can go and do those things. So I think that is it for all my questions. My tea is almost done. I need to finish it. That was just my little life update, a little Q&A I wanted to film for you guys so you can kind of see where I'm at, and I just felt like sitting down and talking. I really enjoyed making this kind of video last time. So with that, I'm going to head out. Cheers to having a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.